Okay. I don't think Janet knows I'm recording this. She just stepped away to get another cup of coffee, so here's my chance. Hey everyone, it's Andy from the United Way of the Northern Shenandoah Valley. And yes, Janet, if you're hearing this, surprise. We're still celebrating the Valley Today's 2500th episode and this awesome community fundraiser you came up with. Here's the deal. Between now and the end of the year, it's Janet's goal to raise $2,500 to support the great work of the nonprofits in this community. If you give just $25 or more, you're going to be entered into a chance to be a guest on the show with Janet. If you give $250 or more, we'll make you a commercial, just like this one, that will air on the Valley Today podcast. So go to givebutter.com/The Valley Today right now before Janet realizes that I've hijacked her airtime. She's walking back in, cup of coffee in hand, gotta go. Remember to donate between now and the end of the year and support the great work of so many nonprofits and celebrate 2,500 episodes of the Valley Today.
Hello and welcome to the Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Camping for Hunger Week on the River 95.3, so that means if you're listening on the radio today, the bus is parked and ready to accept your non-perishable food and monetary donations at Royal Plaza Shopping Center in Front Royal. Station staff will be on the bus 24/7 until Saturday morning to greet you, accept your donations, and show their gratitude. Everything collected will benefit Front Royal CCAP. You can visit theriver953.com/camping4hunger for a list of needed items or to make an online donation. All week, I'll be highlighting the need in our surrounding communities and featuring several nonprofits through the conversations that I've had with them in the last few weeks. Have a listen. I have the privilege right now of sitting in the warehouse for Bright Futures, Winchester, Frederick County. Elise Stein-Dolliner is sitting across from me, not on a Zoom screen this time. And I came in, Elise, on the end of a food packing session that I think would put some of our major manufacturers to shame, the way that you had that thing organized. Tell me what I caught the end of.
We do our food pack program that some people might call a weekend food bags, weekend food pack. There are different names for this in every community you see. A backpack of food that goes home with kids over the weekend who would qualify as being food insecure, which means they do not always know where their next meal is coming from. And believe it or not, there are kids right here in our community that fall into that category, that do not know where their next meal is coming from. When they leave on Friday after school, that the last meal they might eat was that free and reduced lunch that they ate at school, and they may not eat again until Monday morning when they come back to school, where there is a hot meal waiting for them at breakfast time.
And this is the mission of Bright Futures, is to make sure they do have food over the weekend, over the summer, and it's not just food.
No, it is not just food. We rely on our community to help us meet basic needs that are not being met with our kids in the schools. Things they're not getting at home that are keeping students from being successful. And that's what it all comes down to, is are the students in our public schools making sure they have every tool available to them so that they can focus on learning. So what is not getting to this child at home? Is it food? Potentially. Is it clothing? Is it a blanket? Is it soap? Is it running water? What is going on with these kids? And what is keeping them from being successful? What is the distraction? Is it hunger? Because we can fix that. Is it a jacket? We can fix that. Shoes on their feet? Socks in their shoes? We've seen it all, and that's why we're here.
And you serve both schools. It's very unique because your program is funded by both Winchester City Schools and Frederick County Public Schools.
That's exactly right. We are very fortunate in that we can help the kids no matter what side of the highway they live on this week. So it doesn't matter if inside the 81 corridor in the city or if they're just outside that the next week living in a hotel. We're here for the kids no matter what. We're all about helping the kids no matter what circumstance they find themselves in.
I didn't think of it from that perspective, that there are situations where parents are moving from one location to another location, maybe within or outside of the city.
Absolutely. We have hundreds of homeless students in our county and city. It's around, I believe, 300 right now, but that number is probably a little higher by this point. Around the COVID times, we were pushing 500, which was a new horrible benchmark for us. And these kids that qualify as homeless, they might be living in a hotel. They might be doubled up, living in a living room of a family friend. They might actually be in a shelter. We see a lot of different situations, but we're here, of course, first for our homeless kids and then for our kids who come from families that are just not making enough to get by, and they have to make a cut somewhere, and sometimes it's skipping dinner. dinner.
I spoke on the show yesterday with Andrea from Winchester CCAP, and she talked about being a homeless prevention program and that they serve families that 3 weeks out of the month, they are just getting by, but that fourth week, there's just nothing left. You're serving a lot of those same families.
Absolutely. We see that all the time. You can definitely see the difference when the check hits their account and kids have food in their lunch boxes, and by the end of the week, the snacks are conveniently forgotten. We hear about that a lot. And that's why we're here. We're here for the kids to make sure that they are not the ones that are feeling it when things get tight.
Where does the food and the shoes and the socks and the coats and the clothes come from?
Donations. That is how we are able to do everything we do here. We are lucky enough to be staff. We are a part of the schools and a part of the student support departments within the schools to make sure our kids' basic needs are met. And keeping these kids focused on learning, it takes an army of people across the schools. But to find the items they need, that's where the donations come to play. And sometimes it's an item that some kid needs that is going to make the difference for this kid to help them focus. And we collect things and money to make these kids successful in school. So sometimes it is someone writing me a check and I'm able to buy food for kids. Sometimes it's somebody bringing me a brand new jacket. A group came in this morning and they brought us a bunch of brand new jackets. They just hit the store and those jackets are already long gone. They're already out on kids' backs. We see a lot of stuff that comes in here, but it all goes right to the kids.
And that's why you have to have such a broad range of not even just sizes. Sizes alone is a little overwhelming, but you have to have girls, you have to have boys, you have to have winter coats as well as light jackets, you have to have short sleeve t-shirts along with sweatpants. You need to have a little bit of everything all the time.
Yeah, public school students, they could be like 3 years old in a pre-K program and they can be like 21 as a high school student. Some of the learning center classrooms that we have here. And of course they come in all sizes. So we'll have itty bitties all the way up to seniors in high school, which come, quite large sometimes. So you'll see a 5X come out our doors on occasion. That's why we have to keep so much here so that we can respond to any student need at any age, gender, with whatever they're facing. If it's a kid waiting at the bus stop without a coat on and it's not their choice not to wear that coat, sometimes it is. Sometimes kids just don't want to wear coats. And I'll never understand because I'm always all about those comforts.
Yes.
But sometimes it's not their choice to be cold. And that's why we have to have that coat at the ready so that we can respond immediately.
When we had our last conversation, if I recall correctly, you were about to bounce. As soon as we got done recording, you were going to bounce because you were on the hunt for a pair of size 13 shoes because you did not have them in stock. That's where cash donations come in.
Absolutely. We go through so many sneakers here, and I think all kids should have shoes on their feet. It seems natural to me that kids should have shoes on their feet. And when you get a call that a kid comes to school barefoot, it's ridiculous. We actually had a phone call this week that we had a high school girl that had run away from home, and she came into school because it was a safe place for her. And she came in with no jacket and no shoes on her feet. And we ran that stuff up to her in just a few minutes. James Wood is across the road from us here, up off of Indian Hollow Road. And she had this stuff immediately. But of course, without a doubt, the one shoe I need is the one that is not in my shoe closet every single time. The amount of time and money I spend finding shoes for kids because there are so many sizes. And those popular ones, like those boys size 7 8s, they just fly out of here. We rely on those financial gifts, those charitable gifts to us to be able to respond when we don't have it already sitting in our closet, donated and ready to go. I can go out and I can buy it and get it to the kids right away.
How does that part of it work? Does a school counselor call you? Does a parent call you? What is the logistics of all of that?
I love logistics. We have a system and it's great. We work so closely and exclusively with our schools. All needs are filtered through our school counselors. So when we see a kid that needs help, it is the school's counselor job to pick up the phone, submit a web form to us, and we'll dispatch whatever is needed directly to that school counselor. We do not work directly with families. We work directly with the schools to be able to respond when there is a child who is in need of something. We trust our school staff who know what's going on. They know the families and they know the situations to be able to call us and when they know that there is an issue. And we respond immediately to these counselors who vet the situation, and then we can safely respond internally within the school system.
That also gives a layer of privacy. You don't know the names of probably any or very few of the kids that you are serving on any given day.
That's right. Our kids' privacy is paramount to us. That is huge. And that's the reason why a lot of our volunteers are school staff themselves, because we make sure our kids are very protected through this entire process. Whenever we can protect or not share any information, it's always the way we go.
So when I came in, there was a group of volunteers that were here and they were packing bags of food. What was that for and who were they?
So that was a church group, and they were assembly line packing some food bags for the weekend food pack group. We had 1,250 bags to pack today, and those will all go out to the schools tomorrow on Thursday. And these bags will get put in the kids' backpacks on Friday so that some kiddos have something to eat over the weekend leading up till their next meal on Monday.
And you were telling me before we came in to sit down and record that was $1,250 today, but it has been as high as $1,500 in a week.
Yes, we last year had 1,551 was our high water mark, and I think that's the most we've ever done. And it is a lot of food to move. It almost doesn't fit in the truck. It gets to be very logistically challenging at that point.
And speaking of the logistically challenging, the other thing that you were walking me through is when we're talking about clothing, for example, and you may need a certain size or a gender for clothing, there are children out there with peanut allergies, with dairy allergies, with all other types of medical conditions. You have to take into account that when you're packing these bags as well.
Absolutely. Not only are they food insecure, they may not have food when they go home on the weekends or at night, but maybe they also have a peanut allergy. Now, how complicated does that get? That's hard on the family, trying to find food that's safe, but then also trying to feed a kid over the weekend. We want to make sure that we can accommodate these kids. So we work with our schools, our nurses in the schools to verify allergy information to make sure that we can provide exactly what these kids need, and then we pack a special bag for each kid that has an allergy so that they are not going without just because they might have a super allergy, as we call them. Some of these kids, it's amazing. There's one that has gluten, dairy, and wheat. Sometimes I think about, what are we going to feed this kid, air? Like, what are we going to, there's an answer. There's always something, and sometimes it's just something with less ingredients, but we rely heavily on food donations because we buy things in bulk. Thanks to the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, we're able to buy a lot of what we use in bulk. But the snack items and the breakfast items are something we just can't get from them, especially kid-friendly stuff. We're not going to buy the whole frozen turkey to send to little Jimmy over the weekend, right? So we have to find these things that kids want to eat. So today we had some Chef Boyardee stuff. We have ramen noodles coming up. We have mac and cheese. We have all sorts of stuff that kids will feed themselves and they like. And then the granola bars and those sort of items. And we need to get a lot of different things so that we can accommodate our allergies, but then also have enough for each kid to have 8 items to take home with them on the weekends. If you do some quick math, you're talking thousands of things that go out here a week. If we only had 1,000 kids in our food pack, you're still talking 8,000 items a week. That's insanity. And more realistically, you're talking 12,000 items coming through our warehouse every week when you consider that every bag has 2 breakfasts, 2 lunch, 2 snacks, a fruit, and a vegetable in it. Trying to basically replicate what they would get in school when they're not in school.
And add in the fact that none of that can be refrigerated. None of that can be a frozen food. All of that has to be shelf stable and non-perishable. Yep. It makes it even more complicated.
And individually wrapped. So we've got to make sure that this can work with our kids. I think about my little 6-year-old. Could she carry this home? And we have to think about that when we pack these bags. That as much as I would love to give this child a giant box of cereal, this does not fit in their backpack. And we don't want them being outed by being able to see this giant big box of cereal in their backpack. So we have to make sure that the bags that we give out are a certain size. They're not too heavy. We have a lot of kids that walk home, something that kids can eat and as ready to eat as possible, basically. So when we have things that have pop tops, that's always like a big gold star for me. Things that have a little spoon included, or like the little packages of trail mix. Hearty foods that are lightweight, easy, and can handle the damage that a kid puts a backpack through. Because trust me, those backpacks have seen some scary things.
I can't donate a box of cereal. You're not going to divvy that up and put it in Ziploc bags. That's not food safe, so you can't do it first and foremost.
Yeah, we got to keep stuff food safe. And I wish that we could just buy that big box because gosh, it'd be cheaper. But we've got to keep stuff individually wrapped for sanitary reasons and to keep things as clean and unprocessed as possible, uncontaminated. So when we have allergies, when we have any sort of other issues with our kids and their transportation needs, we need to make sure that things are as toughly packed in individual wrapped bags that you can read the ingredients, you know what you're getting, and you know it's safe.
You do this for every weekend for these kids. What happens, for example, we're coming up on Thanksgiving, there's going to be a Christmas break, snow days, things like that. How do you forecast for that?
I know that all school staff, whenever we see a snow day, I know that it hurts everybody a little bit because I know a lot of these kids rely on that hot meal. And we think about the kids that might not be fed those days and who's watching these kids? Where is the food coming from? It hurts our heart a little bit every time that there's a snow day because you worry about the kids that really rely on the free and reduced lunch.
And it's not something you can plan for normally.
No, it is not. It is not. And it also hurts us too because we rely on every single one of the days in a 5-day week to get this food pack done. The turnaround time and the packing and managing of volunteer teams, it takes several days. We can do it with 4 days. 5 is better. 3 is not possible. So it depends on when those snow days fall. Sometimes it's okay, we can work around it, we can get creative. When it's on delivery day, or what happens if it's on the day the kids are supposed to pick up their bags, we can get them across the finish line, but when a snow day is on a Friday and it's the day they're supposed to take their bags home, what you gonna do?
What do you do?
And that's where things get challenging. And I know it's really a tough decision. These choices are hard.
At least around holidays you can plan. And
Yes.
you also know, okay, this is going to be a 4-day holiday week. So it's not just those 8 items, it's 8 items times 4 days.
So we try to do the best we can for breaks. We do a lot of spring break boxes, for instance. We have winter break boxes. We'll give out extra large boxes of food and do family drive-through events where people can pick up more food to try and get them through longer periods of time. It does make you worry. We try to supplement kids and their nutrition as much as we can over those long breaks, for sure, because you think about what's happening when they're not at school. You always worry.
When we're in the grocery store and we're thinking, hey, I want to get something, I heard this on the radio, I want to get something. In a perfect world, I'm buying the individual cups of applesauce. I'm buying the little boxes of the cereal. I'm buying the things that make it easier for you. And I say easier, you still have to break all that down and separate it all out when the food pack volunteers come through to put them in the individual bags.
That's true. So things aren't just beautifully ready on the shelves here for them when they come in here. We rely heavily on our school relationships and our kids in the schools to help us get these tables ready and loaded with food. So when our volunteers come in here, they can assembly line pack things quickly and pack 12 to 13, 14, 1,500 bags in an assembly line, and we do it in 2 to 3 hours. And that's all because we plan ahead and everything is ready, organized, boxes are open, things are stacked, the wrapping is off. We have to do a big shout out to our Learning Center classrooms across the county and the city that help us get stuff ready. The cereal that you saw packed out here earlier, that was all done by Hanley Interact and Hanley Learning Center teams come in here and the assembly line pack that for us. And then we also have Sharando, Jameswood, Millbrook, they're in here every single week helping getting this stuff ready because we could never do this on our own. We're an incredibly small staff serving 2 school districts, so it's not a small amount of work.
And it's important to note districts, not
Yes.
2 schools, 2 districts. That's
Yes.
a lot of schools.
Yes, that's 28 schools, and then you compile that with all of the other emergencies we have going on. So not only is this a food program, but we have a holiday assistance program, we have summer food programs, we have clothing, hygiene, shoes, and then of course like housewares items from time to time when you know about kids that are homeless. We have sleeping bags. We do so many other things just to try to make sure our kids are as stable as possible so that they're ready to learn.
What do you need right now? What would be a lifesaver to you besides all of the things? If you had to pick, you were showing me the clothes closets earlier, and I saw very few size 7, 8 winter coats. Winter coats are going to be very important in the coming weeks.
New winter coats are huge for us because we can immediately get them right back out. The ladies that came in this morning with the bags of winter coats for our kids, that was amazing because they immediately went out. I don't have to process those, clean, sanitize them. Doesn't matter if you promise up and down that you've cleaned and sanitized. We still got the same processes for every
There's
single
still a
thing.
standard operating procedure.
Operating procedure that keeps us safe, knock on wood. We have to make sure that every single thing that goes to our kids is something you would put on yourself as well. So we do accept new and gently used items, and clothing is great for us because we go through so much clothing for our kids. Then food items, anything that is ready to eat, shelf-stable items, and we have a whole list of all these things on our website. If you type into your Google machine, Bright Futures Frederick Winchester, you'll find our website, and we keep an up-to-date list of all the items we need. But far beyond anything else we need, the biggest thing, of course, is cash. Donations. Those allow us the flexibility to respond in emergency situations. So if the food pack comes short, if next week I have 100 more kids that need to be added to the food pack and I need to go shopping right now, those donations make it possible for me to do that so I don't ever have to turn a kid away who's hungry. That is the one thing I would love people to consider. Make a donation, a gift to Bright Futures so we can continue this process for our kids.
And people should also realize that you're not always paying what I'm paying at Walmart either. You mentioned earlier Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. Les has been a regular on the show with me the last several months. He's going to be my guest as we wrap up Camping for Hunger Week on Friday. You get things from them even at a discount that they have then gotten at a discount. So you can buy more. If I give you $5, you're going to buy more than I can buy $5 worth at Walmart or Target or any of the grocery stores.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. I can buy things for much cheaper than you can at the store. I think it's about a quarter for a box of mac and cheese for me. Consider making a donation because I will use that to the absolute best advantage. We can do some great things with some money.
How do the volunteers work for you? Because it's got to be tricky as well because you are associated with the school system. So not just any Jane Doe off the street can wander in and say, what can I do for you?
That's exactly it. It is a challenge for us because yes, we are part of the schools and schools have background checks. which is great because we also have students in here all the time working with us, and we want to make sure our kids are safe. And so that is huge for us. And so we have a very thorough process, but we also very greatly need volunteers all the time. If people are interested, shoot an email to the contacts on our website. Check out our website, see more information there. And occasionally we do have events and other ways that people can support us without actually being in the building with kids. We can work with you, and things like when we do Stuff the Bus in the summer or summer food, there's some other options for things that people can get involved in.
If someone is listening today and they suspect a family member or a neighbor has children that are in need and maybe their needs aren't being met, can they reach out to that child's school system?
Nope, sorry. It's hard because it's hard to verify who these people are, what they're saying, and then do they have rights over the child? That's where things get really hard, because you may see someone who's struggling. It's not illegal to be hungry, but you can't say, I think Jane Doe's kids aren't being fed at night. That's a really tough situation, but we work with our school counselors to make sure that our kids have what they need. And they know these kids, especially if they are in public schools. They should be very well aware of the kids who might be struggling. We trust them to know who needs what needs to happen. And then our counselors do the very heavy lifting job of working with the families and making sure that kids are okay and that they'll accept help. Because not everyone is ready to or actually does need the help. Sometimes can't always tell.
But that's really good information to have, because I have had conversations with people who have said, I'll just call their school, and then get annoyed because they feel like they didn't really get the, oh, we'll look into that or whatnot. That is a really good explanation. That explains why.
It's hard. I want to help all the kids, but not everyone is ready to accept help. You can only do what you can do, and you say your piece and you have to hope for the best. But we rely on our school counselors because they are in the trenches, I like to say, and they're working with the kids, and they're there to help the kids directly. It's a real challenge for us if families don't always want the help. But as kids get older, that's maybe why we've seen so much success with our in-school food pantries, because we let our kids help themselves when they need it. And once you get to a certain age, usually around middle school, kids they know, and they are able to speak up and help themselves, which is why I think we're giving out more and more food in our in-school food pantries, which are basically closets or cabinets in our middle and high schools that Bright Future stocks with our food pack items and other snacky, ready-to-eat items. And kids can get a hall pass, can sneak out, go visit that counselor where that food pantry is, and get a few things to get them through the weekend so they can make sure that they have what they need.
There are just so many, between food bags, food pantries, clothing closets. I am not surprised because I've known you for a lot of years. So I'm not at all surprised that you manage how to get all of this to where it needs to go. But it is a lot.
It is a lot, but we only do a small part of it. It's all these school staff that are doing the heavy lifting, and these angels in the schools who have the big hearts that are doing the work. We're the finders and the fixers. And so we're able to work with the logistics and make it happen. So when you give me your coat tomorrow, fresh in the bag, hopefully, so I can give it out the next day, immediately that day, maybe even that day, I can turn around and get it right to the school, so that person in the school who would have otherwise bought it out of their own pocket. And we see that all the time. We'll see counselors, cafeteria workers, admins. We see people that are these angels in the schools that care about the kids and know what they need, and they'll go out and they'll buy it themselves. And that's why we try to jump in whenever we can and be the answer, so that we can hopefully keep our staff from spending their own money and use donations from the community for people that may have what they need. I've taken coats out of my own closet from my husband who maybe wore them one time, has a lot of wear left in them. We process, clean them, put them up on the rack, and sometimes it's the next day that they're back out again. We leverage these relationships and the generosity of our community and plug it right back to the schools with whatever might be needed.
And particularly with clothes, those of us like me that are bargain shoppers and have a whole clearance walk around Target, it is not that difficult for me. I couldn't tell you the last time I walked through the kids area because my kid's over 30 years old, but I could walk through and pull, these are $3, the kids' underwear is $2. Just get a bunch of them and bring them to you brand new, still in the package.
Yes. I'm not sure if you know Robin Russell, who's over at Family Promise, but she just texted me the other night. She's like, you need to get to Walmart now. They have an entire huge display of socks and underwear marked down to $2 a package. And I was like, the next morning, I dropped my backpack in here when I came in, and I walked right back out the door. I walked out with a huge overflowing shopping cart, and the dirty looks I got were extensive, but those socks and underwear are in our schools right now, and they're there for the kids when there's an emergency. I remember hearing a story when I started this work about Cheryl, who was the old admin here. She said she'd seen a whole rack of 99-cent pack of women's leggings, and she walked through it, she cleared the shelves, and that stuff is solid gold for us. So yeah, when you see a sale like that, you go ahead and clear those shelves. It's for the kids, for bright futures.
Yes.
I try to leave a little bit for somebody else. Things like socks and underwear, we always use brand new, because there's just some standards. Nobody wants to use underwear, folks. We give those right back out to our kids.
And when you're in line checking out doing that, tell the person behind you what it is you're doing. I do that all the time. Like, I get crazy looks when Watts opens for the winter, and I run through Costco and I'm buying 5 of the giant Folgers, and I'm going through Target and Walmart and I'm buying 6 half gallons of creamer, and they're looking at me crazy. I'm like, I'm taking these to the homeless shelter. Let the people in line behind you know what you're doing, because they might go do it too.
That's so funny. We do get some dirty looks from time to time because you can't tell everybody. And you'll be walking out of Walmart. We've had times where we've come up short with food and we've needed to make emergency trips to get some more food for kids, and fill in a cart with granola bars, like hundreds. Realistically, we go through 3,000 breakfast items a week, and half of that might be 1,500 granola bars. And sometimes when we have to go out and buy 1,500 granola bars, you get some funny looks. And people start to wonder, what is she doing? This is some crazy hoarding behavior. And around the COVID times, remember when people were stockpiling toilet paper and stuff? The dirty looks you get. People are like, I always try to leave a little on the shelf. But we go through a lot of stuff.
I love that idea. I need to go with you on one of those shopping excursions, and I'll be your, hey, let me tell you what she's doing right now.
Yeah, they see you coming and there's a wide berth. But the ladies at Walmart and Target, I see the same ones all the time because I spend a lot of time there. My phone likes to say, are you ready to navigate to Target? Are you ready to navigate to Walmart?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's time. It's food time. The weather's changing. We need more long sleeves. They see me coming at Walmart and Target, and they're like, here we go.
And we're off.
And we're off.
Like the crazy coupon ladies, when they see them rolling through and they pull out their binder with all their coupons. You've turned into that person.
Yep. Not far off. 28 schools worth of kids. It's a lot of kids to help.
So Google Bright Futures Winchester, Frederick County.
Yep.
And all of the information will be on your website. You have social media. They can Google you and find you on Facebook as well.
Yep. We most recently just posted a picture of a bunch of knit hats. We have a group of ladies at the Village Orchard Ridge that all make knit hats, and they moved out to about 500 hats. There's a photo there of us accepting a bunch of hats. If you look right now, you'll see it there.
And that's gloves scarves,
too.
mittens, all of those things.
Yep. We send a lot of those out to the schools. Tons.
I'm going shopping. Thank you for letting me go shopping.
Watch those deals. Let us know when you see a good deal.
I appreciate the work that you're doing here. It is truly God's work.
Thank you. It's the most satisfying work in the world, but we could never do it without the support we have from people in the schools that are working to make this happen, to look at new ways to solve problems. And we could not do it without the support of the people that are voting for our elected officials, that believe in our kids, that want to do everything they can to support our kids. And this is a very creative solution to doing that. And thank you to everyone who saw this vision to support it, because not every school system and district believes that they can help the kids, and they can take a very little amount of resources, 1-2 staff people, really, to be able to use these people to make these
to
solutions.
Maximize the benefit.
Yes, it's an amazing opportunity that we get to do this.
Well, that's it for us today, but Camping for Hunger bus at Royal Plaza Shopping Center is still open 24/7, as a matter of fact, through Saturday morning, with station staff anxiously awaiting your drop-off of non-perishable food and monetary donations to benefit Front Royal CCAP. Visit theriver953.com/campingforhunger for a list of needed items, or to make an online donation. I'll put links for that and from our conversation today in the show notes at thevalleytodaypodcast.com. And tomorrow I'll be back with a brand new conversation just a few minutes after noon, so meet me here then.